tried everything. The screen time rules, the 1 more hour, then we're done deal, the phone out of the bedroom at night. You've argued, negotiated, threatened, given up, and started over. And every single time, it ends in the same place. He's back on the screen, and you're standing in the doorway, feeling like you lost a fight you don't even understand the rules of.
So let me tell you the part nobody says out loud. You are losing that fight. But not because you're too soft, not because you're too strict, not because you're a bad parent. You're losing because on the other side of that screen isn't just a game. It's a team. Designers, behavioral psychologists, data analysts paid for years to keep your kid sitting there 1 more minute. And they get better at it every single year because every update is tested on millions of players and only the stickiest tricks survive. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll show you the 5 tricks hidden inside his game. And then the one shift that turns this from a fight you can't win into the only version anyone can. Here's the thing we get wrong. We talk about games like they just became addictive, like it was an accident. It wasn't. Modern games make money when people keep going. The longer your kid plays, the more he buys, the more data he gives, the more he's worth. So staying isn't a side effect. Staying is the product, which means every color, every sound, every reward is built around one question. How do we get him to continue? And here's the part that should stop you cold. The people making these games don't even need to understand the psychology. They run it like an experiment. A new feature gets tested on millions of players. The ones that pull people back, stay. The ones that don't, get cut. So the mechanics in your kid's game were never tuned for a weak kid or a vulnerable one. They were selected, like evolution, to work on the average player, the normal brain, the most ordinary teenager in the room. Which means one question stops making sense. Why can't he just stop? That's the wrong question. The right one is, what exactly is the game doing that makes stopping so hard? So let's open it up. 5 tricks. For each one, what you see at home, what it's called, and what it does, not to a vulnerable brain, to any brain. Trick 1, the unpredictable reward. What you see at home, he can't stop after just 1 more match because the next one might be the big one, the rare item, the perfect game. What it's called? Variable rewards, usually packaged as loot boxes. And here's what it does. The brain's reward system fires hardest not when you win, but when you might. The anticipation pulls harder than the prize. It's the exact mechanic that makes a slot machine so hard to walk away from. And this isn't some rare glitch. One study of over 1,000 ordinary teenagers found that loot box spending was linked to problem gambling, and the link was stronger in them than in adults. No diagnosis, just a normal kid and a randomized box. Trick 2, visible progress and the grind. What you see, I just need to hit the next level, or I'm so close to that item. Then he repeats the same action over and over for hours, for tiny steps forward. 2 hooks pull at once. The bar that's almost full keeps the finish line forever just ahead. And the hours he's already poured in make quitting feel like waste. So he stays to protect them. Neither hook needs a special brain. They run on the same goal-chasing wiring all of us have. Trick 3, the daily obligation. What you see? He has to log in today. Not because he wants to right now, but because he'll lose his streak, his daily bonus, his head start. Here's the lever it pulls. We hate losing something we already have far more than we enjoy gaining something new. So the game manufactures the feeling that something is slipping away if he doesn't show up. It's not desire pulling him back, it's the fear of loss. And the game built a machine to trigger it on schedule. Trick 4, the social obligation. What you see, he can't leave now. He'd be letting his team down. The others are counting on him. Quitting mid-match isn't stopping a game, it's abandoning his friends. And here's an honest line I want you to hold on to. Part of this is real and often healthy. The friends, the belonging, the fun. But the game amplifies it on purpose. It engineers team play and ranking systems so that leaving carries a social cost. The need to belong is genuine. The way the game uses it is designed.
Trick 5. Paying your way out of the friction. What do you see? Right when it gets hard or slow or frustrating, an option appears to pay your way forward. A shortcut, another try, the character everyone wants. Here's the move. The game builds the friction in on purpose and then sells you the relief. It links that unpredictable reward straight to real money. And some of these systems are built to hide the true long-term cost until he's already in, financially and emotionally. It isn't an offer. It's a trap, made comfortable. Now step back and notice what all 5 have in common. Not one of them is about how long he plays. They're about how the game is wired. Even the grind, which really does eat hours, hooks him through visible progress, not the clock. And here's the part parents most need to hear. Not one of these tricks needs a weak or fragile kid to work. They're not preying on some flaw in him. They're exploiting being human. Which brings us to the thing every parent reaches for. The clock. 2 hours, good. 4 hours, bad. It feels objective. It isn't. When researchers compared what teenagers said about their own gaming to a blind clinical diagnosis, the numbers were unsettling. Nearly half the kids who actually met the criteria for a gaming problem didn't flag themselves as having one. And that hidden group, the ones in trouble who underreported it, they played less than you'd expect. Yet they carried the same psychological risk as the kids who clearly had a problem. Read that again. The clock said they were fine. They weren't. And it runs the other way, too. Plenty of kids who play a lot are completely fine. High hours don't prove a problem. Low hours don't prove safety. Time on the screen is a noisy, unreliable signal. What actually matters is the relationship between your kid and the design. Whether his control is slipping, whether real life is quietly getting crowded out. So picture arguing about screen time without knowing any of this. You think you're fighting laziness, defiance, a lack of willpower. So you reach for willpower's weapons, rules, consequences, lectures. You just need to control yourself. But on the other side of that argument, there's no question of willpower at all. There's a multi-million-dollar budget, A/B tested on millions of players, tuned to hit the exact buttons you're asking your kid to ignore. It was never a fair fight. It was never meant to be. It's like asking someone not to feel hungry while they sit in a bakery, where the smell is pumped in on purpose. The problem was never their willpower. The problem is that the room is designed to break it. And it's designed to break a normal room full of normal people. That's the whole point. It's not willpower. It's design. So here's where it turns. The moment you see that it's design, not your child's weakness, not your failure as a parent, the whole fight changes shape. Before, it stood between you and your child. You with the rules, him with the resistance. A fight where you both lose, no matter who wins the evening's argument. After, it stands between the two of you and the design. Same side, looking at the same thing. The tricks trying to hold him, even when he actually wants to do something else. And that small turn does 2 big things. First, it lifts something heavy. Your kid isn't weak, and you didn't fail. You're both up against something built to win. And just knowing that takes the shame off the table. Second, it gives you a shared language. Because most kids, once the pressure is off, can feel the difference themselves between I'm playing because it's fun with my friends and I'm playing because the game punishes me if I don't. The first is worth protecting. The second is worth seeing through together.
One honest nuance before we finish. The design works on every brain, but not on every brain equally. Some kids are wired to feel these pulls harder and to find it harder to step back. That's a difference of degree, not a different problem. The design is the common denominator. The sensitivity is just the dial. If that rings true for your family, why some brains get hit harder is its own story, and one worth telling another day.
Understanding isn't a cure. A strong design doesn't stop being strong just because you can finally see it. But it's the only place a real conversation can start. So tonight, try one thing. Take one of his games and look at it with these 5 tricks in your hand. Not to judge, to see what he's up against. Then have the conversation with him, not about him. Because it was never you against your child. It's the two of you against the design. And that's the only version anyone can win.